Episode 104 of the podcast. This week, I'm going to walk you through you doing a nail trim the way that I do it. And we're going to see how well that helps you understand where I might be doing things differently and why. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. We're going to try something a little bit different today. It's really hard to explain how things get done through audio. You know, to be listening to somebody, I know many of us need to see it. And I get that. You know, we want to know exactly how something is done. So making it different today, I'm going to talk you through something as if you are doing it. So I'm going to have you imagine that you are at your grooming station, right? Your grooming table, wherever that is. I want you to be thinking about, okay, this is me going through the motions that Chrissy's talking me through, right? So don't picture my hand. No, picture your table. Okay. And I'm saying your table because we work in so many different types of environments that I want you to be thinking, okay, my table, my equipment, you know, my own hands doing it, my own voice. So this first example, I want you to think of a dog who is small enough to be picked up. And this is just a nail trim, not dremeling, just nail trimming. And I might talk you through the process a little differently than you do, but go with it. Just go with it and figure out like, okay, picture all of these steps as we talk about it. It's going to make it really clear to you where I do things differently. And that's my hope, is that you're kind of watching this movie of yourself going through the motions in the way that I do versus in the way that you may do it. And to kind of see, and I'm going to throw some stuff out there. So here we're going to start off, like I said, picture a dog small enough for you to pick up onto your table. And I'm saying that so that you don't like already have a dog that's jumping up. Right? Or a table that's lowered all the way down, having a larger dog jump up and then raising your table. Like, nope, this is going to be a small dog. I'm just trying to make it easier so that you're not distracted by things that distracted by all the shiny objects, you know. But this is your grooming space. This is a small dog. Picture that dog. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through it. So this little dog on the floor, you're like, hey, buddy. You know, he's got loose body language. This dog is eager to look at your face. This dog is making eye contact with you. Seems pretty calm. You reach down and you're going to assess if this dog is going to, you know, be comfortable with you reaching around him to pick him up. This dog is still loose. This dog is still relaxed. And remember the 3 C's: calm, comfortable, cooperative. And that's kind of what we're looking for, even at this stage, even at the hey buddy stage. Like, what's your name? You're my nail trim? Okay. You know, like, we don't know this dog. This is a new dog for us. We're like, okay, hey, buddy. Right. So you're reaching down to see if this dog is going to be comfortable with you picking up. And the dog so far is still pretty loose, still eager to look at you. You reach your arms around him, and this dog is still loose, relaxed under your hands. So now you're going to say, picking you up, and lift the puppy up. Well, the dog, everybody's a puppy, right? But lift this dog up and put him on your table. And now do whatever you do once the dog is on your table. Okay, so whatever way you put him through a loop or clip him on, you know what I mean? Like, just work that through. This is your table, your hands, your voice, not me. So get that dog on your table and ready for nail trimming. So that dog's on your table. Now I want you to kind of check in with him. Hey, bub, you okay? Right? This dog is still loose. This dog is still calm. Kind of interested in what's going on. Like, okay. You're going to reach for your nail trimmers and show the dog your nail trimmers. Hey, look, time for nail trimming. You ready? This dog looks at your nail trimmers, maybe sniffs them a little bit, doesn't much care. Not a problem. Good. That's good. We're trying to keep calm, comfortable, cooperative. But we're giving them chances to express some feelings, right? So this dog is still loose. That's great. Now we're going to move to the back of the dog and we're going to start on a back foot. This might be different than what you do. That's okay. Follow along. This is your table, a dog on your table with your hands and your equipment and your voice. All right. We're going to start on a back foot. Now, the reason why I start on back feet is because I find that a lot of dogs are much more sensitive about their front feet. So it's just kind of a habit I have if it's a dog I don't know. If I don't know them, I start on a back foot. So let's just go with it. Right. So now we've got this back foot. And I want you to pick up the back foot. You've worked your hand down the leg, right? Pick up that back foot. Does it feel loose? Right? Are you gently kind of cradling it, guiding, moving, but holding it loose? Is this dog calm? And this dog is relaxed? If you move your thumb so your palm is open, is this dog trying to pop away from your hand? Nope, he's not. He's being really pretty good. So put your thumb back, and you're going to slide further down that foot to actually grab that toenail the way that we need to do for toenail trimming. Okay, we have the trimmers out. Now we're holding onto the toe, and at this point, the dog does and starts wiggling away. Next step, and again, this is your table, your hands, your voice. Next step, hey buddy, are you okay? And lower your nail trimmers. And lower that foot back down to the floor and think about what discomfort this dog might have been feeling. Because a minute ago, this dog was fine. This is our pivot point where a dog is now saying, nope, something made me uncomfortable, right? So what do I look for? What are you looking for? This dog is on your table. This is your hand, right? Look for, is it the way I was holding this dog, right? Can I try a different hold? Can I let this dog get their balance and pick that foot up again? Right? So you let the dog get their balance, you pick that foot up again, and you reach down for that toe, and you touch the toe, and this time, you say to the dog, okay, this is your toe. And with whatever hand you're holding the foot with, you check to see if it's loose. Is that foot loose? Is this dog trying to get away from you? Are you supporting this dog's body differently? I would, like, okay, let me help you balance a little bit more. There's a dog you don't know. Maybe the other leg is sore and we're asking him to balance on it. Maybe he has bad knees. So now, because this dog yelped a second ago, a dog who's really pretty calm, comfortable, and cooperative already, right? You're holding that foot with one hand. The other hand with the nail trimmer, you're not going to line the nail trimmer up yet. You're going to take that index finger and you're going to tap, tap, tap that nail. This nail. This is your nail. And hold that nail as if you were going to have to trim it and just tap it with your index finger. Nice. And put the dog's foot down again. I know it's not usually what you do, or maybe it is, in which case, thank you. But that's not usually what we do, but that's a pivotal point for a dog. Like, okay, I'm going to break it down even further for you. Because this is our first impression with this dog. This is key. And it's going to take only a couple of minutes, right? So now this dog's like, okay, so you let him put the foot down. Now we're going to pick that foot up again. And we're going to talk him through it. Okay, picking up your foot. And reach that down. Hold that toe the way you're going to need to. This time, with the index finger, you've got your nail clippers in your hand, but you're going to use your index finger, this toe. Now you're going to line up your clippers and line them up so that they're pressing a little bit on the nail, but not yet trimming it. We're just lining them up and say, line it up and test to see if this dog is still calm. And this dog is. Now you're going to say, snip, and snip that nail. After you snip that nail, you're going to pause there and put the foot down again. This dog is fine with it. So you think, all right, great. This dog is still calm, comfortable, cooperative. I'm going to pick the foot up again, hold the toe the way I need to, hold the foot the way that I need to, line up my clippers. This time I don't need to do tapping on the toe with my finger. I'm going to tap with the nail clippers. This toe, I'm going to say, line it up and line up those clippers and say, and snip it off and pause there for a second. This dog is being really good. We're going to move on to the next toe, line it up, snip, and then snip it, line it up and snip it, inject for a dew claw, line it up and snip it. I always count to 5. Anytime I'm doing dog toenails, I count to 5. So I want you to think about the difference is that we're trying to make sure that this dog is calm, comfortable, and cooperative the entire time. And in the next part, I'm going to explain why that was so important to spend that little bit of extra time breaking it down, even though it was so tempting to go for it. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. Now that I've walked you through the way that I do it, I want you to think about the times where we as groomers think, I can just keep going. Like that initial yelp, most of us would have said, all right, I'm not hurting you. I'm just going to get this done, because in our minds, we're thinking this toenail is right here and I can still get it done. But we're not necessarily thinking about what the dog is telling us and what the dog is doing. So when we go through and we're like, no, I can still get it done. I can still get it done. And see, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. Right. But the process of doing that for many, many dogs is the bad experience. That is that pivotal moment where they're like, picking up my foot means they're just going to power through and do stuff that I told them I'm not comfortable with. And ponder that for a minute, right? That's kind of scary, right? That's the uncomfortable part. And especially if you didn't spend a moment to like, oh, are you uncomfortable? Let me let you readjust your balance. Let me see if I can hold your foot a different way. Be a little bit more cautious, right? If we didn't do that and we were just like, you know what? Yep, he yelped. Oh God, here's another one. Well, snip, 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 snip. See, everything's fine. Give him some cookies while I torture his foot. Oh God, did she just say torture? But I want you to think about that moment is a key moment. That moment is our time to say, this dog has been really comfortable with everything so far. And this was the moment it changed. He yelped and tried to pull away. And why wouldn't we afford him the luxury of finding out why? Find out why. Maybe nail trimming is something that this dog is particularly sensitive about. Maybe this dog has always been kind of like manhandled and done, even though he was wiggling and yelped, just because the last people knew that he wouldn't bite them. Right? And it's okay. It's all right, guys. We're in a safe zone here. Think about it. We've all done it. I know he's not really going to bite me. He's a nice dog. He's not going to hurt me, so I'm going to keep going. Right? I don't do things that way anymore, but God knows I did. So I want you to be thinking about the trust that we built by allowing him to readjust his body a little bit and waiting for him to be calm, waiting for him to be comfortable with it, giving him the chance to assess what's going on, and also breaking it down into smaller steps. So the purpose of, okay, holding your foot. All right, now I'm going to hold your toe and tapping the toenail with your index finger and like this toe and assessing how he's going to be for that. That's an important part. Like, okay, maybe we're not just going for it this time. Maybe this person doesn't do nail trimming like the last person did, right? And telling them, lining it up and line up that clipper and line it up. And when you line it up on a toenail, my observation has been that when I say line it up and I line it up and just put just enough pressure on it that the dog can feel that it's on their toenail, they seem to know if it's going to cut the quick or not. Okay. How do I verify that? I really can't. I really cannot. But I'll tell you what, they seem to know that this is in a safe spot. Because often if a dog is a little bit worried, I bring it back to something where we're not going super close to the quick. I mean, I love myself a good nail trim, but that's not the purpose if they're scared, right? The purpose is to walk them through the steps that are important, not necessarily get the nail all fiddly close, which, I mean, that's the purpose of nail trimming, but not when the dog is worried. Like, we have to get them past it because nail trimming is an important part of their life. So when you line it up and you tell them, line it up, and they're calm, and you say, snip, and then snip it off and pause there. So many dogs, if I can get them calm when I say line it up and get them used to the idea that I'm going to tell them snip, that dog changes for me. A dog who has always been bad for nails, if I can get them to be calm this whole process and I just line it up, are you ready? And snip. And pause there. It's not like a snip, dang, good, you're done. It's a snip and a pause there. And they process that and it's like, oh, that didn't hurt. Oh, that's not what I thought it was, And because we're allowing them to be calm, we're also allowing ourselves to have a gentler grip. And I want you to think about that too, because sometimes what we end up doing is a dog starts wiggling and we clamp down tighter. Now, we talk about comfort a lot, but I also want you to think about a lot of dogs, when you start touching their toes, especially if they've had really long nails, we don't know how sore those toes might be. We don't know if that dog doesn't really stretch their toes out. I know a lot of times I've seen groomers twisting a foot in a way that is really looking uncomfortable for a dog because they're trying to see a nail. And the more the dog struggles, the more likely we are to do that. So by calming everything down, it allows us to have a looser grip. It allows the dog to be more comfortable with it. And we slow it down and line it up and snip. And putting that foot down after the first one gives them the chance to say, oh, I thought we were going to do nail trimming, right? Because in their mind, and not that I can get into their mind, but in their mind, if they yelp when their toes being held for nail trimming, they're expecting something entirely different than what you just did, right? So we need to help them relax and just be calm through the whole process. And then you get to the next toe and you can be a little bit faster about it. And then the second toe, then now you're into the third toe and the fourth toe, and you're like, okay, and line it up and snip, and line it up and snip. Still feeling in your hand, the hand that's holding the foot, is this dog loose? And many times they still are. And if you go through this process with them, then the next foot that you pick up, they're like, yeah, you're at an entirely different starting point than you were with the first foot. Pick up the second back foot and do the same thing. You don't need to start at the very beginning again. You start off with, okay, and here's your toe. All right, line it up and snip. Second toe, line it up and snip. Third toe, line it up and snip. Fourth toe, line it up and snip. Check for a dew claw and snip. Right? You think about, like, now it's just a matter of you going through the motions pretty casually and waiting to feel any sign that the dog is uncomfortable. Maybe this dog is only uncomfortable for one particular foot, but because you took the time to help them calm down, you're more likely to notice that. Now, with the front feet, you might have to start the whole thing over again, right? But a lot of the time, what I find is, for many dogs, and I mean, I started working with dogs in 86. So while I wasn't a groomer in 86, I was doing nail trims on a kennel floor in 86. I was doing brushing, bathing, and all that stuff in 86, right? I've done a lot of nails. What I find is most dogs, if they are calm through this process, the nail trimming wasn't the scary part. It was being held. It was being restrained. It was being forced into the nail trimming. And ponder that for a minute, because it's so easily avoidable. So easy to avoid. Okay, this is how I'm going to reach around you, or this is how I'm going to hold your foot, and now we're going to line it up. Are you still calm? Can you be calm while I line it up? And snip, right? And so many dogs are so different. So I'm hoping that by picturing this process on your table with your imaginary dog. I, like whatever dog you pick to be your imaginary dog, right? Your table, your voice, your hands, your equipment, that it's going to make a little bit more sense. Like, oh, wait, this is the point where I stop. Because so many groomers wouldn't address a behavior problem until they had trouble trimming the nail, not when the dog is having trouble trimming the nail, right? That's really the key difference between good handling skills and adding some training to your good handling skills. Because, yeah, you could get it done. You could get it done. But for so many dogs, that is the issue. The fact that they get it done even though I told them I'm uncomfortable. So I set you up with an ideal of a dog who's already pretty comfortable with everything. Like, oh, hey, yeah, sure, pick me up, put me on the table. Yeah, whatever, a pretty friendly little guy. And you might think that that's not reasonable, but a lot of the time, it's those friendly little guys that get a power nail trim, that get socked in, locked in, that turn crazy, right? Like that little guy could become a big, big problem if we just force it, right? A lot of these dogs that we see with grooming problems weren't because the dog was bad, right? It's because the process didn't work for them, right? So we have to adapt our process so that it works for most dogs. And that's where calm, comfortable, and cooperative really comes in, because calm, comfortable, and cooperative is the opposite of fear, frustration, and stress. Because once a dog becomes afraid, right, think about that chemical reaction that's starting to happen. We have adrenaline, we have fight or flight, we have epinephrine levels, we have cortisol levels. Like there's a chemical reaction happening in that dog's body telling them to make their heart beat faster, their lungs go faster, bring more blood to the muscles so that they can act, right? We don't want any of that. We don't want any of it. We want to block that whole thing from happening by keeping them calm, comfortable, and cooperative, which of course is also part of safety. A dog who's calm, comfortable, and cooperative, you are less likely to nick that nail because you actually took the time to say, okay, and line it up and snip, right? Not real likely you're going to quick that nail. So I want you to think about the different way of doing it, but also picture yourself doing it and think about where you would do things differently and why I'm trying to guide you in a different direction. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast or the Facebook page Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you.